I call the member for Hotham.
Speaker, I move the motion relating to science, technology, engineering and mathematics in the terms in which it appears on the notice paper.
I thank the member for Hotham. Member for Hotham.
Speaker, it is with huge pride that I begin my remarks noting that Australian women have some incredible and proud achievements, an incredible and proud history dominating in the fields of science, technology, engineering and maths. We all know names like Dr. Fiona Wood, who invented spray-on skin and continues to do incredible work with burns victims all over the world. Like Elizabeth Blackburn, the Nobel Prize winning scientist, I think the only Tasmanian to win a Nobel Prize so far. Dr. Marguerite Evans-Galea, the co-founder of Women in Science Australia and an award-winning biomedical researcher at the Murdoch Children's Research Institute. And amongst a younger cohort, Speaker, I'm so pleased to note the achievements of Marietta Cheng, our 2012 Young Australian of the Year and the founder of Robo Girls, and Yasmin Abdel-Magid, a medical engineer, founder of Youth Without Borders and the 2015 Young Queenslander of the Year. Deputy Speaker, all of these women are incredible achievers who are operating at the very global heights of their professions. And while it's critical to celebrate their success, Deputy Speaker, we must also be frank that these remarkable achievements, unfortunately, do not reflect the share of women in their professions overall. A terrifying statistic just to get us started, Deputy Speaker, just 10% of senior science academics in Australian universities and research institutes are Australian women. Some other numbers that I'll share with the House, Deputy Speaker, that bring some of the issues that we're discussing today to light. Of all of the Australians today who are working in STEM, less than a third of them are Australian women, and this figure is as low as 14% when we look at the engineering profession. The underrepresentation of women at a professional level comes right back to our education system, Deputy Speaker. We know that in our universities, just 1 in 5 engineering students are women and 14% of information technology enrolments are women. Even when we get to our school system, Deputy Speaker, we see where this problem begins. The number of women at the high levels of our senior schools taking advanced mathematics is about half of what it is for young men, and just 1.5% of Australian girls are completing the 3 key STEM courses at their Year 12 level, which is advanced maths, physics and chemistry. What is even more worrying, Deputy Speaker, is that when we look at these numbers, we see that they're actually getting worse over time and not better. Just one fact, the share of young women in Year 12 who study physics fell by a third between 1992 and 2009. Now, Deputy Speaker, these numbers should be incredibly concerning to every person in this country. They should be worrying to us because we have very clear evidence here that the best and brightest young Australians are not breaking through in these key professions in science, technology, engineering and maths. Because when we see women get into these professions, Deputy Speaker, we see them make incredible breakthroughs. Think of all the inventions, the patents, the new medicines, the breakthrough technologies that could have been invented by fantastic high-achieving Australian women, but who are not being represented in these professions today. Now, of course, there's a big human capital, there's a big economic argument here, Deputy Speaker, but I want the Parliament to address this issue because I believe it is a fundamental social justice issue when we look to the decades ahead. One of the things that we know about the way in which our labour market is changing, and it's changing very rapidly, is that people who have these qualifications are shooting to the top of the labour market and they're doing better and better year by year. We know that we see spectacular jobs growth in the areas of our economy that require STEM qualifications. Many factors, sometimes people talk about 3 times as much job growth in STEM professions than in non-STEM professions. Now, what we're seeing here with these facts, Deputy Speaker, is that we're creating a situation where the best, the highest paying, the most senior roles in our society are ones where women are inevitably going to be dramatically less represented. And I believe, Deputy Speaker, that the underrepresentation of women in STEM is one of the top feminist issues of our time. Now, Deputy Speaker, Labor is the only party in Australia that is talking about this problem and that has a plan to address it. I'm so proud when I look at the policy announcement that Labor's made on this front so far. What our leader, the Leader of the Opposition, has talked about is wiping the student debt for 100,000 young people who graduate with these qualifications, introducing 25,000 teacher scholarships, and increasing the number of students completing their STEM studies by 20,000 graduates a year from 2020. All of these policies will be implemented with a particular focus on bringing more women into these professions where they belong. Deputy Speaker, we have to address this problem. If we allow it to continue, we will pay a hugely
The
heavy
member's
toll.
time has expired.